Welcome to Strange Bedfellows, a Julian Fellowes fan cast. I'm Kirt Graves.
And I'm Stefanie Jochman-Deepak. Today, we are reacting to Downton Abbey, the grand finale. Yeah.
Question number 1. Do we think it's really the grand finale?
I hope not. I thought it was.
Right?
And I read something in Entertainment Weekly that didn't answer that question.
No, of course not.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Because if it makes $1 bajillion, then of course they're going to find a way to somehow revisit this world.
Yeah. So,
You know?
so my answer is, I don't think so. There's more
Okay.
story to tell.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk about that more at the end. Once we've spoiled it for our listeners,
Yes.
then we can talk about maybe some elements that we think could come back. But before we get to anything spoilery, we're going to have a spoiler-free discussion.
Yes.
And did your theater before the movie play a previously on?
Yes, it did. And it
Okay.
did that the last movie, too, which
Oh, I see.
More
I didn't see
movies
the
should
last
come with
movie
this.
in the theater.
for sure.
So, well, I wasn't invited by anybody. And so something was going on. I don't
Okay.
remember, but
Okay.
I was like in a show or something. So I ended up just watching it for rent as soon as I could do like it's still in theaters and on your TV thing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But yeah, it started with a previously on, and I was like, "What is this?"
It's lovely. You can get a little Hugh Bonneville, a little Michelle Dockery
Yeah.
telling you the plot. More
And I was
movies
like-
should come with this. Marvel movies should do this.
They probably should. Although I wish I had known about it in advance, and I wouldn't have rewatched the movie in little fits and starts over the last few days because I was like, "Oh, I gotta remember what happened in that last movie."
I did the same thing.
Yeah. And here was an explainer. I was like, "Oh, okay,
yeah.
that was wasted time."
You can check their work.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the plot, just to get people primed. This is only things we knew from the trailer.
Yes. Okay. So we know from the trailer that Lady Mary is cast out of high society due to her divorce from Henry Talbot.
Gasp. Which is like, we knew a long time ago that Matthew Good was not coming back for the movie.
Yeah.
So
Which, I mean, come on.
we knew something was going on there. We knew he wasn't in the second movie, and then now he's not coming back for the third. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Not surprised when the trailer suddenly revealed that like she was getting a divorce.
Yeah, they seemed to be spelling that out in the second film. So yeah, this doesn't feel like so much of a spoiler. We also know that tension is brewing at Downton as Robert wrestles with handing control over to Mary.
Yeah. Which has been a plot point for so long, but he's still a struggling.
I mean, it's Robert, right?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
this is the nature of Robert. He'll 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 more steps back.
You're just describing men. I think. Yeah. And then we have the return of Paul Giamatti as Harold Levinson,
Yes,
Cora's brother, and we know he's bringing some bad news.
that seems to be his job. I think
Yes,
the
I was
last
gonna
time he
s-
showed
yeah.
up.
I was going to say he would not be here if not to tell us about some money problems, because that's all he ever does.
Yeah, that is his character note.
Yeah.
Tell us
Yeah.
how you messed it up, American brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that a little
Yes.
bit more in the
Yeah.
spoiler section.
Yes.
But we both did something. We watched the movie yesterday. We are recording this on Thursday, September 11th. And we both went back to our individual. I went to my car. I don't know where you were.
I was also in my car.
Okay.
Yes.
And recorded a voice memo of our instant reactions to the movie.
Yes.
So, do you
I love
care who
this.
goes first?
I don't.
Okay.
So you take your pick.
Okay. I'll go first because I loaded mine up first. So,
Okay.
Here is my reaction. It's like 6 minutes long. So,
I was worried about a minute and a half.
no. You know
Okay.
how long-winded I can be.
Let's hear it.
So yours will be a nice palate cleanser after my diatribe. So I just sat down in my car after watching Downton Abbey, the grand finale, and I'm really emotional. It was the last few moments of the movie, though I won't get into the details, were really really emotional and beautiful. And I think it was a great way to end. If this is in fact the end, I could see storylines continuing in different ways. I feel it did justice to all of the characters. We had everybody sort of at their peak, their most themselves, from Carson to Mosley to Cora to Robert. And I'm really surprised at, I shouldn't be, but I'm a little surprised at the way this movie reminded me that this whole endeavor, despite the fact that we've seen so many lives intersect with it, that this has really been Mary's story all along. And, we're at the point in watching the show where you sort of love to hate her. She was a good character for television, but she wasn't a person that you necessarily rooted for. And, there are many times when I was happy she was getting her comeuppance, but she has grown and learned and loved. And I think as a result, I've grown to love her. As I love all of these people. I love all of these characters that Julian Fellowes created. And I'm so glad to have had a chance to spend a little more time with them. And this will be a rewatch. This will be a comfort rewatch. And that actually, I think, takes me to my greatest takeaway from this viewing, which is something that Paul Giamatti is, I think it's Harry Levinston, Cora's brother, says, and I may not get the quote exactly right, but he says something along the lines of, sometimes the past is a more comforting place than the future. And that was certainly true today. There were a lot, it was an upsetting day for reasons that we can talk about. And it feels in so many ways like looking at this period of time in the past when things seemed simpler. It's an escape, and it's a great way to forget for just a couple of hours the reality of the world that we live in now. And that's so powerful, and that is the power of storytelling, and it's why I believe in it so much. And then you think about the fact that, this generation of people, this generation we're watching, they lived through 2 world wars. So they weren't simpler times. They were different, and their challenges were just as great, and I'm sure they had just as many days that were upsetting, even though, this film focuses on, the perils of being a social pariah versus some truly horrific, violence that can happen in the world that is perpetrated over and over again, and we just keep going through these cycles, and we just don't learn. Sometimes the past is a more comforting place than the future is really more a commentary on how our brains and how our societies work. What a beautiful thing that we can sometimes let go of the traumas of our past and just remember the good things, but we have not learned our lesson as a society about remembering the evils of our past so that we don't repeat them. And so, I won't ever be able to divorce the fact that I watched this movie for the first time on September 10th, 2025, at a really scary and sad point in our nation's history. And, political violence is once again in the forefront. And that makes me sad. But this movie makes me hopeful that with all of that happening in the world, there are still stories, everyday stories of everyday people who are living lives of great worth and love and value. And that someday maybe their stories will be told, the people on the edges, the people we're not focusing on right now. And that someday, to some other generation, their trials, their tribulations, their dramas will be a comfort. So those are my initial thoughts after watching Downton Abbey, the grand finale.
Wow.
I was in my feelings yesterday.
You were.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are profound. My thoughts are probably not.
Well, I think we probably need the palate cleanser.
No, but I thank you for placing that in the context of the week, of the year, of really to some extent the century too.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, here is Stefanie's reaction, and if we didn't say it, we have not heard each other's reactions. So we're hearing each other's thoughts for the first time, and also it's extremely weird to listen to yourself in this manner. As soon as I hit play, I was like, ew. So be prepared.
Hi, Kurt. It's Stefanie with my post-Downton movie first reactions. I'm sitting in my car. I haven't even left the parking lot. And I think my tagline is, the third film in the Downton trilogy is more like the third film in another famous trilogy, and by that I mean Return of the Jedi, than you think. I loved this. Loved it, top to bottom. Haven't audibly reacted to a film as much as I audibly reacted, particularly to like the first 45 minutes of this movie, in a long time. Was ready to maybe attack some characters on the behalf of other characters. Loved that Edith got a moment. Isabel and Daisy are like my new favorite dynamic duo. Love that so much. And loved the cinematography, the music, and the way that this so beautifully celebrated a transition of leadership and all the past history that has been a part of this show. I can't wait to talk about it with you. I can't wait to get all my strong feelings about certain characters out there. And yeah, I will run back to the theater. I will buy this one on permanent media. Julian Fellowes at 76, 77 years old. Wow. Just getting better and better.
Yes, a rave from Stefanie.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you brought up all of those positive elements while I was just like being Eeyore. Because it was a brilliant film. And like Downton Abbey, because of the luxury it's had of growing over the last couple, not 2 decades quite, but like it had a long time on television, and then it's had, all this time to gestate as films. Like it has attracted just some of the best artists that are out there.
Yeah.
Costumes, cinematography, music, really quality people want to work on these films, and boy, does it show in the final product. Oh,
just beautiful. Like, I mean, this is a movie to go enjoy at the theater because it just looks so gorgeous. And I remember going to the first movie and just feeling goosebumps seeing Highclere on the big screen and seeing that vista. It's close to the feeling you get when you're actually going up the drive and you see it, because you're finally seeing it, not to scale, but close. And yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love that our reactions, there is a Venn diagram where we cross somewhat, but also we like what we were thinking about as we left the movie.
Yeah.
Was different, would love to get into how it's like Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I mean,
we're gonna go there?
Yeah. We can only go into so much now, and I can dig in further later, because I had like an initial thought. The way that the last scene plays out is akin, and we'll dig further into that. Like, there's a particular thing that they do, and then the more I thought about it, the more I found parallels. So
I love this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I can elaborate further in the spoiler section.
Sure. Well, before we get there, just feelings wise, what left like the strongest impression, the most significant impression with you now that we're like 20 hours removed from having seen the movie? What's still resonating?
I mean, I think it was a really beautiful conclusion to the sisters' story together. Just the way that they sort of magnified the dynamic between Mary and Edith, and the way that this signifies just what a change has happened from the pilot until now. So that sticks with me. And just Michelle Dockery in general, like tour de force performance from her. Mm-hmm. And, you know, an exciting possibility as a result of her performance. What else stays with me? I think just gratitude for how much story this movie told. Right? I think when you get into second sequel territory, and when these are films that are jumping off of a television show, it'd be really easy to do a retread or just have like one plot that's kind of barreling forward. But I think this story served the majority of the characters so well, and so much happened. You know, you really got a filling of everything. It's not just Ascot. It's not just this ball. Like, give us a county show. Kind of all the little special touches that we would love over the course of a season, this film gave us, but not in a way that felt rushed.
No, yeah. Well, and I do think it was smart to. I feel like he condensed the timeline.
Yes.
Because
this felt like Gilded Age season 3.
Yeah, sometimes even in the show, like in one episode, you can go months and months in between, this scene and the next. Like, especially in the early seasons, like time really flies. From episode to episode. So this was nice to just kind of sit in what I'm guessing is probably a couple of weeks of action. So it was great. I just leave feeling grateful that so many of the characters I love do have a wonderful life.
Yes.
And that they seem to recognize it.
Yes.
With one notable exception, which we'll get into.
Oh, okay.
So I love that. Was there anybody we missed seeing or wanted more of in the movie?
I mean, I feel like Tom Branson had a bit of wasn't as well served by this particular movie, but my guess is, to some extent, his plot was wrapped up, and he's started a life that's slightly distanced from the Crawleys now. So maybe Tom could always do with more Alan Leach. Yeah,
I was bummed Imelda Staunton wasn't back.
Oh yeah.
There was this part of me, and I knew she wasn't in the movie beforehand, but like before I knew that, before that was confirmed, I thought, gosh, her and Penelope Wilton could be a fun new dynamic for women of that age. Like, what if it's somebody she doesn't feel she has to be at odds with all the time, and then they become like this power couple, this dynamic duo of women of a certain age, just like getting done. Sorry, I said a swear. I'll have to bleep it out. Getting stuff done. So that I was reminded at the beginning of the movie that I was like, oh yeah, she won't be in this, but I did miss her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, she was a great addition to the cast. And although I think we got a little bit of a let's celebrate women of this certain age scene, and I'll get further into that in spoiler territory, but I thought it was just like a lovely little touch. And Penelope Wilton, love the material that they gave her. Yes. She's always had this like subtle but deadly comedic force on the show, and I feel like this movie really maximized it.
Agreed. Well, those are our spoilery-free thoughts.
Yes.
So if you have not seen the movie and you're listening to this podcast and you intend to see the movie and don't want to get it spoiled, this is the part where you pause, and you come back to us once you've seen the movie. All right? So if that's you, we'll see you later. Don't forget about us. Come back.
Please do.
But go away right now. Go. Get out of here.
Bye-bye.
All right. So if you're still listening, I assume that means you're ready to have a spoiler-filled conversation about Downton Abbey, the grand finale. So I have some plot points, and I figured one by one we'll just kind of react to them as we go.
Okay.
And if I missed anything, feel free to toss it in at the appropriate time.
Sounds good.
So we open on the West End, where the family is enjoying the latest Noel Coward musical, Bittersweet.
Yes.
In which Guy Dexter stars. Guy Dexter, played by Dominic West, who I have to say I don't usually like, but I like him as this character.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Robert, Cora, Bertie, and Edith go backstage to greet Guy and their former footman turned butler, Thomas, who is now Guy Dexter's assistant, companion.
Yes. Okay. So I read in the review, I think it was from The Guardian. And I apologize if I'm misattributing, but they said something about how the opening of this movie, like the way that they get meta, is maybe the most ridiculous way that they've been meta in this series. And I will agree, because they definitely had this woman on stage singing, dressed much like the Dowager, right? Singing this song about saying goodbye. And the other cast is costumed to look much like the Crawley family. And I both loved it and went, oh, come on. Dame Maggie would not approve. Like this. I
gotta tell you, that didn't even occur to me. I mean, I obviously recognized that it was like of the time, that like at that point in time, it was basically a contemporary play. But I did not make the Dowager connection. I was just like, oh, it's a lady singing a song.
Oh, to me, it felt like it's the, hey, remember she died, and we were all sad. And now, and then like the slow pan to the family to settle us in. I thought an interesting shot of the Crawleys in one section of the theater, the house staff in another section. Just one other way that the society is separated to some extent, right? That you might not always think about.
We're still separated by that extent. Those tickets cost more.
Oh, yeah.
The closer you are to the stage, it's like you're upper class if you're sitting down there, or you got a really good deal on Today Tix.
Good point. Yeah.
Today Tix, not sponsored.
No.
This is not a sponsored ad, but Today Tix, if you want to sponsor us, we'll take it, because I love you guys, and I've given you a lot of money over the years.
Yes, I'm patronized as well.
Yes. So, but yeah, they were in the balcony.
Yeah. And then as for the backstage bit, so fun.
Yes. Oh my God. Robert. So just, is he willfully clueless or just clueless?
I think both.
Yeah. I think, probably.
I think a little bit of both. Maybe mostly clueless, and I do love Edith and Bertie's just looks at each other as who was it, Cora or Robert, who said, well, they do, when talking about Thomas and Dexter, well, they do travel quite a bit together, you know, with their physicality. But Thomas makes me so happy.
Yeah.
He looks so happy, just like so genuinely delighted. At least that's my read.
No, I agree. I think that's totally true.
And so that just brought me a lot of joy to see not only, you know, he's serving in this role to Guy Dexter, but it feels like they've really established some kind of comfort and ease with each other. And it, you know, they don't, as much as the times will allow, have to hide things.
And I also, just as they're walking away, that Edith and Bertie look, it really, to me, that's when the movie started. I was like, we're back. And sort of to speak to what you talked about in your reaction, the theater that I was in laughed. And it was so great to experience this with an audience. And my theater was pretty darn full of people good. My age or older, a lot older. And like those ladies and me were having a great time.
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing this in the theater and hearing other people laugh. I think a lot of the times I was maybe the loudest laugher.
Good for you.
And the most reactive. But yeah, it was great to hear, to be in a crowd where people picked up on the joke, you know, and that they too were looking for those little glances, those little winks of, hey, we know these people and we know how they interact with each other. So that was great.
It's just a room full of people who can appreciate a dry wit.
Yes.
Which is like, oh, you are my people.
Yes.
Yes. And react to it with like uproarious laughter.
Yes.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then we are sent back to the family. They're in their London season. They're going to this ball that's being thrown for some visiting royals. And I think they said it's Bertie's cousin, Lord Hexam's cousin, Lady Petersfield, who's throwing the party. And so they're going to it. Mary has a beautiful new dress.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that dress is a great callback to, I feel like Mary's had great red dresses before. So.
Ooh, we'll have to keep an eye out for that as we're doing our rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
She looked great. It was a beautiful dress. Yes. Really well done. But of course, that is the day at which the evening paper reveals that her husband has filed for divorce. Yes. She is going to be a divorcee. Jolie Richardson's delivery of that line, she is getting a divorce, was just
yes,
delicious. And then she tried to be super nice about it. She's like, get out of my party, but also
I got
so
your
sorry
coat for
I
you.
have to kick you out of my party. I've gotten your coat.
Yes. That moment where she's rushing them down the stairs and then they kind of get shoved under the stairwell where she's like, hide. And they're shoved under the stairwell. That for me felt like a really interesting turn. So given that it's a royal visit in the first film, right? Mm-hmm. And they're making such a big deal of it and it's really treated, respectfully and solemnly, and that, you know, from the movie's perspective as well as the characters. And then all of a sudden we have this other royal visitation and now it's made to be ridiculous. It's really farcical, right? That they're having to like duck under the stairs, that to some extent Jolie Richardson is like behaving ridiculously. And so I thought, ooh, here's another little signal, like times are changing. Yeah. We're all made to think that this is ridiculous, right?
Yeah. Oh, so true. Yeah. So after that happens, obviously Lady Mary is not happy. She stays in London to welcome her uncle, played by Paul Giamatti, Harold Levinson, who has brought with him a mysterious associate, Gus Sambrook. And Mr. Sambrook takes advantage of our dear Lady Mary, gets her quite drunk.
Yes.
And they copulate.
Such a verb be used with Lady Mary. It seems so inelegant.
Well, what verb would you use? Because the ones I would normally use, I'm not allowed to on this podcast.
I mean, that works.
Yeah. I refuse to say they made love.
No, I won't say that.
Because you can't do that with somebody you just met. But
no.
They shared the evening. They spent the whole night together.
Yes. Okay, so here's the character I wanted to attack. Like, was ready to...
This early?
Yes.
Really?
Felt like he was bad news from the jump.
Well, yeah, but like in a fun way.
No.
This is the difference between me and Stefanie. I'm like, oh, he's a bad boy. That's okay.
So here's the thing. I thought I would have been okay with that. And I think Matthew Good, when he started, was that sort of a love interest for her.
The mildest of mild bad boys. Okay. The lukewarmest of bad boys. He drives a car real fast.
So, but he, like, they had that sort of, you know, tension of like, you know, brushing up against each other kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There was just something about him. One, I think it's that Paul Giamatti conveys this sort of nervousness and also like a weakness, untrustworthiness in Uncle Harold. So you just worry about whoever he's bringing with him.
Sure.
And then, I don't know, it was like Alessandro Nivola. I was just like, I don't like the look of this guy. I don't like that he's pushing the alcohol.
Well, it was clearly on purpose.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm not saying his actions weren't extremely suspicious. I just, at this point in the movie, was like, I don't know, he could be fun. Mary can handle him.
Nope. I was like, this is bad news. I don't like somebody capitalizing on her weakness. And even like her waking up, like I could tell, this is not the Mary who makes decisions and owns them. Mm-hmm. This is a Mary who recognizes, I didn't make this decision in my right mind.
Yeah, no, she's a smart girl, and she's been here before.
Yeah.
So
I was.
And in that way, though, it is so Mary. It's like, oh, here we are again. She will fall for a handsome gentleman.
She will.
And she will push the boundaries.
I did appreciate the way this echoes the whole Mr. Pamuk situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets a more specific callback a little bit later. But let us continue. But I will continue my attack on
Okay, all
Sam.
right, that's good. Yeah, he is ultimately the bad guy.
Yes.
So I'm just saying he was the bad boy, and then he turned into the bad guy. And when he was the bad boy, I was like, okay, that's fine. And Alessandro Nivola is a very good-looking person, so that doesn't hurt. So, meanwhile, we learn that Anna is pregnant with the Bates family's second child.
Yes.
This is another person I would have loved to have seen more of the interior life of Anna and Mr. Bates.
And I think in this case, it was actually a real life pregnancy.
That makes sense.
So that was worked into the story and maybe made it difficult to give her more to do. But I loved Anna's reaction to the overnight. And I think maybe it was Anna, like the fact that Anna wasn't even delighting in Mary having this adventure. Because I think there are times when Anna is mischievous, right? Sure. And she'll appreciate a scheme now and then. We see that later in the movie. But the fact that she didn't trust him and that her hackles were raised said to me, no, can't enjoy this.
True. And what a strength of the writing that we're being given those clues. But also, part of that is just, I cannot believe this woman is going to make me keep another sex secret. Like, how many sex secrets do I have to keep for this woman? I am not paid enough. I need a raise.
Or I need a really rich godmother for my baby.
Hey. Speaking of spoilers.
Yes.
Back at Downton, we learn that Carson and Mrs. Patmore are both preparing for retirement, and Andy and Daisy will be taking their places respectively.
How did you feel about this?
Could not believe Carson and Mrs. Patmore were still there. They were clearly holding on for too long. Parker and Daisy were ready, I'm sure, long ago.
I had forgotten until I rewatched the second movie that Carson came back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought for sure by this point they would not have.
No, that should have been like a year.
Yeah.
Tops. Nope, several years later. We get to see what Isabel is up to. We find out she's taken Violet's place as president of some annual show. I still don't know. Like, they just kept calling it the show.
It's the county show. It's
county show.
It's like the county fair, the state fair, right? Because they're showing the animals, and presumably they're also bringing in like other farm goods.
Okay.
I think they've had a county show once or twice before.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Mary had to show the pigs at the county show.
Sure. That makes sense. I'm going to think of it more as a fair now because that makes sense to me.
Okay.
But as I was like typing this out this morning, I was like, they just kept calling it a show. What the heck is this show that they were, what got shown? But that makes sense. Livestock.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And she is very intentionally pressing the buttons of the chairperson of this committee, Sir Hector, who she just doesn't like and is perfectly fine pestering him until he makes improvements that she thinks are necessary. Going so far as to invite Daisy and Carson to join the committee, which is a revolutionary act, apparently, because they're not rich.
Yeah.
They're servants. The likes of them will be on this committee.
Oh, the scene where Isabel invites Daisy, so
Yes.
sweet. And her face, like she just lights up and she's so excited at the possibility. And I think along with that too is this lovely little like hope and thought about, what kind of life is Daisy going to have in her 40s, in her 50s, in her 60s? Like what a life she's led and what change she's experienced. And so that was just like a lovely little sparkly moment. Sir Hector is Simon Russell Beale, who like big time Shakespearean actor, really happy to see him have a spot with this cast.
Yeah.
Perfect as the cantankerous
Beautifully
show
done.
leader. Yeah.
Beautifully done. Yeah. I loved to hate him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was obviously frustrated with his character, but I was like, this guy's doing good work. I enjoy it.
Yeah. He and Penelope Wilton played really well off of one another.
And as we started talking about earlier, Penelope and the way she's able to deliver some of these one-liners, and in particular in reaction to Sir Hector, was just, I mean, that's what people, when they guffawed, that was it.
Yes.
Those were the lines.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think if I wrote, I tried to write in the dark. It is a bit of a mess, but I'm sure I wrote down some of those
right?
lines.
Yeah. Yeah. We then check in on Molesley, who is writing screenplays still. So his storyline from the second movie continues apace. So he is a screenwriter.
Yeah.
But he's really at this intersection of like having one foot in movie making in Hollywood and yet having the other foot still in Yorkshire with his wife, Baxter.
Yes.
And he both has an inflated ego and an inferiority complex at the same time.
I mean, if anyone was going to have both, it would be Molesley.
We contain multitudes, right?
Yes.
Like I could think you could say that about most artists, frankly. Most creative people have both an inflated ego to think that they can do it in the first place, and then also an inferiority complex because we never think we're good enough.
Yeah. And I think, watching the movie, I did get a little upset with the way that he spoke to Baxter and those moments of inflated ego, which I mean, we're meant to. And at the time I was like, well, but this isn't Molesley. But then I think to like the episodes where they've played cricket and other moments in which he has like had that little moment of glory and it just tips him over the edge. Molesley is better when he's striving.
Yes.
Than when he's on top, unfortunately for Molesley.
Or when he thinks he's on top.
Yeah.
He somehow manages to always overestimate his position or the cards he has to play, while at the same time just being knocked back again and again and again. Maybe it's admirable, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is the one character who I referred to earlier about somebody who like has this wonderful life but doesn't seem to be able to recognize it.
Yeah.
And that does change by the end of the movie, we hope. Although my experience is with most people, they need to learn a lesson several times before it sticks. So I have a feeling this is going to be a recurring theme.
Yeah, I worry a little bit about Baxter and what life at home is like for her.
I have a feeling she reaches a breaking point and then the gentle nudge towards being satisfied with this life will turn into an all-out attack, and he will bow down as he should.
I think that's a good prediction.
So, yeah. She's not going to take it for long. She just loves him enough to let him deal with this in his own time and hope that it turns around. Then we cut back to Cora, learning that Harold has, in fact, lost most of their mother's money.
Surprise, surprise.
Heavily implied in the trailer, and then we come to learn that it is true. And a part of the issue here is that Mary was counting on that inheritance, Cora's inheritance, to help pay for some repairs they're already making to the cottages on the estate.
Yes. So this puts them in some dire financial straits. And now the London plot line, I think, Fellowes makes a great connection in that while in London, Robert is remarking on these families who've had to sell their London homes and they're being broken up into hotels or into flats and things like that. And so now suddenly the idea of selling Grantham House, which is their London home, is on the table. which Robert's not very happy about at first.
Furious, in fact.
Yeah. And Harold makes some comment about like, oh, it's not so cuddly, Lord Grantham. And I wanted to be like, well, were you here did you hear anything about season 2? Because there are plenty of moments when he is not very cuddly. I think he gets cuddly as the show goes on.
Yeah, but I think Cora probably would have left that out of the letters out of respect for her husband.
Yeah,
she wouldn't have gone into detail about how he could be sort of an a-hole sometimes. So much so that he gives himself like a hernia.
Yeah, that's right.
So like he takes it to the nth degree.
Yeah. Since we're talking about Harold, later on in the film, there's a line about, what was it? How could I have been? Oh, I can't believe I was so naive. And in my seat, I was like, really? Because the rest of us can't.
Exactly.
So I was like, no, I can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that sentence is missing an again.
Yeah, yeah,
again.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, he's a real mess, but I do enjoy seeing Paul Giamatti show up. So
yeah,
wasn't mad about that. And he and Elizabeth McGovern had some really touching moments.
Yeah, I appreciated the way that they really built up on their brother sister, or even to have him say, or to have her say, you know, I've known you since you were born, and you got this little taste of what had they been as siblings, and what kind of relationship was that before she went away.
Yeah, although I gotta say, it is just as much Cora's fault for trusting him. Yeah. When we know his past. When she is berating herself, I like, my instinct is to be like, oh, don't beat up on yourself. But then it's like, no, you're right. You should have known better. You shouldn't have let him handle this.
Yeah.
And you should have listened to your instincts on that. Like, trust women, Cora. Trust yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, and we got into this a little bit with the Grantham house, like Robert is still struggling to embrace Mary's plans for Downton. He thinks it's foolish that they've started these plans without the capital to be able to finish it. He does not see the changes as necessary, which has been a running theme throughout the show and the previous movies. And he bucks against the sacrifices that Mary and Cora and a lot of the others know will need to be made. So he's the man on the outside. He's the lone person who's fighting progress. And this is where Tom does come into the story, I think, in the strongest sense, which is to be once again an ally for Mary and to really advocate for her to Robert and just say, like, you gotta let her do her thing.
Yeah. The Mary and Tom relationship is so special. And in Sybil's death is so sad, but the way that Tom becomes a part of the family, the way that the sibling dynamic shifts and he really becomes a brother, I loved him as brother to Mary and to Edith, and so it was special to have that moment around the table where he advocates for her again. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And we get to see a little bit more of Bertie coming into the equation too.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that particularly because to me it's a reminder of the fact that were it not for a strange twist of fate, he is not Lord Hexam. You know, and so he comes from humble beginnings, and I think he and Edith both reserve the knowledge that it is through only great fortune that they are where they are, and nobody would have expected them to be in this situation and to have the wealth and influence that they do. So they really come at these things with like a really grounded, from the ground up sort of understanding of like how these estates work and how the families function. And if there is to be longevity, what you have to invest in now and what you have to let go of.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he used to be the agent.
Yeah. And I like, I'll speak more about a favorite line of Bertie's a little bit later on, but it's just fun to see Harry Haddon Patton, given that we both saw him in My Fair Lady.
I was going to say, this is our first reference to My Fair Lady, but it shall not be our last.
Yes.
Because, when we were in New York together, we got to see him as Henry Higgins with Laura Benanti on Broadway in My Fair Lady.
Yeah.
It was lovely. He was wonderful.
Yeah, he was fantastic. And I like that he is not just like Edith's supportive husband in this movie, but he gets to be sometimes the silly brother-in-law. Which, can I lead into the next plot point?
Please do.
So he's the silly brother-in-law as there's a discussion of a plan to raise Mary's social stock. So it's nobody wants to be with Mary as a divorcee. She's sort of outcast from society. Cora tries to throw a dinner with the neighbors, but they decline in light of her recent divorce. Edith schemes to get Noel Coward and Guy Dexter to attend the dinner and lure the locals back in, but not before the family has a discussion and Bertie has this throwaway line of like, well, it's too bad they're not coming to dinner.
Yeah.
And then Mary says, what dinner?
What dinner? Yeah.
And the daggers.
Yeah. And it's like,
Edith
this
stares.
is where it's like, how long ago was that? Because they're wearing the same clothes. So like for us, it was a couple of minutes, but like, did he at least have an hour to forget that we weren't telling Mary? Was it even an hour,
so.
Bertie?
Yeah. But just the moment of everyone like, come on, man.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to tell her no one was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
men. These men.
How much did you love the scheme and the way that Edith sort of enacted her scheme to get the locals to come to dinner?
Brilliant. And again, because it demonstrates just how she knows how things work. Like, oh, how am I to let people know that we have these esteemed guests joining us now? Anna, I just don't know what to do. How could we possibly let all of these other rich people know that we're having a famous person over for dinner? And then Anna's like, I understand the assignment. I'll take care of it. And she's like, thank you so much.
Oh, that makes me think about Joanne Froggatt had an interview years ago about how, like, when Anna was fighting for Bates when he was in prison, that she wanted a secondary show called Anna Bates Investigates. And which, yes, please, sign me up.
Spin-off.
Yes.
Now. Yesterday. Give it to me.
But the way that you just summarized I understand the assignment.
I understand
feel like
the assignment.
that would be an Anna Bates Investigates
This mission,
moment.
should you choose to accept it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It was very much like, I got it. I got
Yeah.
it. And we'll just
Yeah.
go tell the most gossipy maid we know. And everyone will know by dinner. We'll be good.
We'll all encounter each other in our close hats and make it happen.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful work. And beautiful writing, the way that was all handled too.
Yes.
And very well acted. So, all right, let's talk a little bit more about this Gus Sambrook, because he is not the friend that he at first appears to be, unless you're Stefanie,
say.
in which case he never appeared to be a friend. So first of all, when Mary doesn't back his plan to use the rest of the Levinson estate to raise capital, he threatens, I think threatens is the right word, to reveal to the rest of the family that they had a torrid evening together. And so he thinks that's a little bit of leverage he can use over Lady Mary. Little does he know.
She has weathered the
This girl's
storm
been
before.
around the block a few times. The family, she's like, no, better people than you have tried to blackmail me about sex things to my family.
Did you die in my bed? No.
No. You got off lucky, sir. So this has ended with a body bag. I don't know that they use body bags, but you know. This could have gone worse for you.
Bed sheet.
It still could.
Yeah.
This is an awfully high veranda we're standing on right now.
Yeah. It'd be a shame if you stumbled and fell off this balcony.
Yeah. So first he kind of threatens her. And then we're at the Ascot race course. And Tom runs into an old acquaintance who's like, oh, is that gentleman still going by the name Gus Sambrook? Which is a great way to ask a question. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What other name would he be going by? Say more, handsome
Yes.
stranger.
I thought maybe Tom would set him up with Mary.
Do we know him?
No.
Okay, well, maybe he'll come back. We don't know. He's a good-looking guy. They can bring that actor back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, say what now? And then Tom delivers the news to the rest of the family that, of course, he is a con man. And he was, in fact, nearly convicted for his crimes in America. And the gentleman that Tom knows, who delivered the news, was like a witness at his trial. And only because of a technicality was Mr. Sambrook allowed to escape prison. And then he continued his scams and cons, and he got his hooks into Harold Levinson, and that was going to be his white whale, his big catch. And then he is getting him into this wealthy society where he's making even more connections.
Yes, and so this is when Edith really gets her moment.
Yes,
Laura Carmichael nails this scene.
Indeed.
So I love, I'm going to deliver the coolest threat in the calmest voice. I love those moments. I'm going to look askance as though we're not speaking to one another, and then just deliver devastating threat to you, sir.
Yeah.
And so she tells him, you threaten my sister, you threaten my family. You will never show your face in this town again, more or less. And she does it with just such grace, such elegance, and also such, what's the word I'm looking for? Danger? Intimidation?
Can we talk about how cold this is, though? Yes, she is protecting her family, but the threat is basically, if you say something nasty about my family, I'm not going to let you take advantage of all of these other people that you met today.
It is weird. I was like, really? They're going to just let this guy go? They're not going to make a scene? But I can understand, because if they did make a big deal, they would forever be associated with him, right?
Sure.
Because to out him, they would have to admit how they knew him in the first place.
Yeah. So it makes sense in the 1930s of it all, but I was like, she's basically like, I'm not going to let you rip off anyone else if you rip us off, but if you spare us, have at, you know?
If they really wanted to do this well, they would have walked him right up to Lady, what's her name? Lady Petersfield.
Yes. Oh.
Have you met Gus?
Oh, yes. Yes. That would have been rich. I would have loved that. I love that. So we've done away with Mr. Sambrook. We're back at Downton after Ascot. They have their dinner. Noel Coward, Guy Dexter, and Mr. Barrow attend.
Yes.
Thomas is given a chance to hobnob with the upstairs crowd for the first time, which is really fun and interesting to see. Who played Noel Coward in this movie? He was so fun.
Is it Artie Forsham?
Frauschen.
Okay. Yes.
Frauschen.
Sorry,
so
sir.
much fun. Great one-liners.
Yes.
Beautiful character work. And just really, like, in this moment in the movie, like, I think things could have started to maybe drag. But because of him, it really, like, kept propelling forward and kept being interesting.
Yes.
And his assessment of everything that's happening around him and just how fascinated he was with everyone and everything was really, really fun to see.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And what I did find curious, I mean, I guess it gets set up or paid off in Harold suddenly wanting to invest in Noel Coward's new play. But there's a moment where Harold walks in on Noel Coward, like sitting in his smoking jacket, right? And I was like, is Paul Giamatti just a big Noel Coward fan and he wanted, this moment of exchanging fun words with Noel Coward?
Could be.
It just felt like this little scene that didn't need to be there but was great. I thought having Thomas come to the party was such a kind gesture on Mary's part. Another signal of this is a new time, this is a new era, and made me wonder, like, ooh, what kind of exciting things is Mary going to do with this house, and what other guests are going to be welcome here who might not have been welcome otherwise. And I also thought it was a nice throwback to the fact that, Thomas has always been friend to Sibby and George too. So the two of them have seen each other through a lot. And so I appreciated that gesture from her.
Yeah, I agree. And there are some interesting parallels here, too, to what's happening on the Gilded Age right now, about divorced women being cast out from high society and the machinations around them to make it so that they aren't pariahs.
Yeah. So there's some powerful connection there. I thought the dinner with Noel Coward also, I mean, then he sits at the piano and he and Dexter sing this poor little rich girl song.
Yeah.
So this movie's taking place in 1930. And then I was reading an interview with Julian Fellowes on Entertainment Weekly just a bit ago that mentioned Gosford Park is 1932. So we're very close. And I feel like this whole dinner with Noel Coward is very reminiscent of scenes from Gosford Park. Although in this case, like Noel Coward's singing is really well regarded and people appreciate it as opposed to Jeremy Northam's, which gets to be a bit much for the guests at Gosford Park.
And they couldn't care less.
Yeah.
A bunch of them. Maggie Smith wasn't there to dismiss him.
Yeah.
And therefore, everybody was like, no, we're allowed to actually like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the Dowager would not have had this.
Yeah. Then we cut to the next day, the county show.
Yes.
It's a triumph. Everything's going great. Isabel and Sir Hector are still fighting, but Isabel gets her way by basically just doing it. Even though Sir Hector is like, I will never allow it. And she's like, I understand. And then she just does it anyways. She calls on Lady Mary to give away the last award. And everybody in Yorkshire apparently is like, okay. And Noel Coward at one point is like, here. And everybody's like, the famous guy said we can be okay with this. So
I want to know when Noel Coward was like, by all means, I'll sign autographs at your county fair.
Right?
And then he's like shaking dog's paws.
That was adorable.
Yeah,
adorable.
It was.
And also, a lovely little moment between the three of them talking about
the lady's
being
ankles.
able to see the lady's ankles.
Yes.
And it doesn't do much good for the three of us.
I really did love that moment too. It's like, look at these three gentlemen just like cutting such fine figures and like having this little moment to themselves. That was great.
Agreed. Anything else about the county show that we should talk about?
I mean, just Daisy and Isabel. Love their dynamic. The whole moment when they're standing next to each other and Isabel just says, do not leave me alone with him.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah. Never leave me alone in a room with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just really liked their comedic interplay.
And then we find out that Robert and Cora are going to leave Downton. So Cora has already made the plan. She was just thinking Robert was going to fight her on it. But Robert accepts the fact that it's Mary's time, and that means she needs to be queen of her own castle, and they're going to go live at the Dower House.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they depart. We get one more lineup of the staff. Robert has this nice, touching the wall moment. And then after everyone has left the house, we have Mary there in the, I don't know what we would call this, like the great room.
Yeah.
Right? With the portrait of Violet. And so here's my Return of the Jedi connection, right? Yes. So that Mary looks around, and this was such a nice touch that I was not expecting. And she looks and she remembers the moment where Matthew played the Victrola and they danced, and she remembers their first kiss. And then she sees Sybil, and she has memories of the servants' ball evening where everyone was dancing with one another. There's maybe a bit of questionable AI in that scene, but
I thought so too.
But I still loved it. It was still so beautiful. And so you're really seeing like the ghosts, right?
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. We have the ghosts.
The Force ghosts.
The Force ghosts that appear. So that's like my big connection. I was like, oh, it's the ghosts, right?
Yeah.
But also you think about like Return of the Jedi, big on the sibling energy, because this is when Luke and Leia finally figure things out. 40-year-old spoiler. Sorry, everyone. 50-year-old spoiler. And I think the last lines belong to the sisters, don't they? I think they must. Edith says it like must. Downton Abbey.
Because Mary says long live Downton Abbey, and Edith says amen to that.
Yeah. So there's the sibling energy, there's the ghosts. I mean, we had lots of animals running around. akin to the Ewoks. So.
Fair. The connections will just keep revealing themselves over time, I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure. So a really lovely way to end this chapter of Downton Abbey. There are lots of younger people in this show that I would love to see how their lives progress.
Yes.
I am particularly interested in Master George.
Yes.
I think we could jump ahead 10, 15 years and have a whole new either show or movie about what it's like to be Mary's son, who then has to have that dynamic, which they're referencing, they're alluding to that even in this movie about how someday like she will be Robert, and George will be the upcoming generation pushing her out.
Yeah.
And the time will come for her to step aside. How interesting it would be to meet them at the point at which he has to start taking
the reins,
running the estate seriously.
Yeah. And for him to do it, having been raised solely by Mary, well, in a series of nannies, but solely by Mary, and not really knowing Matthew, which I thought this movie made some nice nods to Matthew and his role, which I appreciated. But I think George has his own journey in figuring out who am I? Am I my grandfather's grandson? Am I my mother's son? Am I someone else entirely? And he would be taking over in, say, the 50s or the 60s, which would be a really interesting time to be taking over an estate like that. I mean, I wonder what the tone of a show like that would be, because at that point, Downton would be probably taking on more visitors and offering tours. And so do you want to lean comedically or, look for the drama?
I say make it gay and make it sexy.
Yes.
But I say that about everything. So
I think there's great opportunity, especially, given Mary's, welcoming nature, given the way that she really embraces Thomas, embraces Dexter, that makes for a place where George might feel more comfortable too, should that be his future.
Wouldn't it be fun if Uncle Thomas and Uncle Guy had to come back to like have the birds and bees talk with a young adult Master George?
There's a fan fiction in there. So.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm on it. Oh, well, this was so much fun. No, go ahead.
Speaking of birds and bees, there's my moment of like celebrating women of a certain age, is that you have this.
Talk about it.
So you have this conversation with Mrs. Patmore, who has been married to Mr. Mason. Mrs. Patmore's married to Mr. Mason.
Yes.
And she has to, she's having a conversation with Mrs. Carson, but what was her name before she was
Mrs. Hughes?
Thank you, Mrs. Hughes, in which Mrs. Patmore reveals that she and Mr. Mason have not copulated.
Yes. Useful word.
Yeah, our previous verb. And Mrs. Hughes reveals, well, it's really great fun.
Yes.
These marital responsibilities are really great fun, and they have such a laugh about it, and there's such a gleam in Mrs. Hughes's eye. And I'm like, yes, let's celebrate postmenopausal sexuality.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. That was not Mrs. Hughes in that moment. That was all Elsie.
Yeah.
That was all Elsie.
Oh, I love the separation of Elsie and Mrs. Hughes. Very clever. Yeah. No, great moment. Love that they had it. Very sweet. And thinking again about Mrs. Patmore, the end credits give us some nice little vignettes of so many families having these happy moments, which was very sweet.
Yeah, agreed. It was a great movie. I had such a great time, and I've had so much fun talking about it with somebody who loves this property as much as I do. Yes, this has been so much. I could keep going. I mean, will we put Edith in something that isn't crocheted? Let's hope. And I mean, let's end on the note of we depend on each other, as people should. Yes. To bring it full circle back to some of your reaction. I mean, this ends on a note with Anna and Mary, with Anna saying, we all depend on each other, as people should. And so let us remember that. Agreed. We depend on each other, as people should. A good note to end on. And we are very curious to know what you listeners thought about the movie. So find us over on Instagram. Tell us your thoughts in the comments or send us an email. Any way you want to get in touch with us, we are happy to hear from you. Yeah, I hope you had as much fun at the movies as we did watching Downton Abbey, the grand finale.
Yeah, you find us at Instagram at Strange Bedfellows. That's Strange Bedfellows or Fellows with an ES. Email us at strangebedfellows@gmail.com.
And if you would be so kind, please rate and review the show wherever you're listening to us right now, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for listening.